Hello, shout out to everyone. My name is Emmanuel, and on my screen, I have an Excel sheet with some questions attached to it, and we are also going to cover what we call conditional formatting. The questions attached there are conditional formatting questions in Excel. So, if this is what you want to learn, if this is what you want to do, I'd like you to subscribe to the channel first, okay, so that subsequent videos are within an Excel sheet, you're going to be seeing them. Now, before you work on any worksheet, understand the data first. Those are the advice I give to people. Before you work on a worksheet, make sure you understand the data first. Now, I am a boss, and these are my salesperson here, okay. Now, these salesperson are located in different parts of the country, and they report their monthly sales to me. All right. So, and these are their sales. The sales for this particular person in January, in February, March, April, May are all presented on this worksheet. So, I want to use this data to generate information that I'll be able to use as a boss. All right. I'm sure we've understand the why we have the spreadsheet, and these are also the questions attached to the spreadsheet. I'll also be making it available in the description section of this video so that you can download it and as well implement or work on what you are being taught. Now, the first question says, if the revenue is greater than average revenue, color it in green. And if the revenue is less than average revenue, I want to see it in orange. All right. So, mere looking at these data sets, they are talking about revenue and they are talking about average revenue. That means we need to generate average revenue. Do you all understand? We need to generate what? Average revenue. All right. So, how we'll be doing that is just very simple. First of all, let me adjust this my screen to this particular side and also make it right here. First of all, it's good to know the total sales of each person. You can see Albertine Kati. This is what she got in January. This is what she got in February. This is what she made in March. This is what she made in April, and this is what she made in May, and this is what she made in June. All right. So we want to know which person had the revenue greater than the average revenue. First of all, we need to calculate, you need to get a column called total sales. Total sales for all month. Okay. Then this is how we find the total sales. Excel will help us do that. We have to sum the sale in January for this person in January, February, March, April, May, and June. We have to sum it up. Okay, so it's going to look like this is equals to sum. You need to use a sum function. Sum function of what? What is the reference of Albertine Kati's January sales? It's in column B and row 2. So that cell is called B2. So I'll come here and write here B2, comma. I also want, remember one thing, the moment you call a cell name, that cell is being highlighted for you. So B2, comma, C2, comma, D2, comma, E2, comma, F2, comma, sorry, I've not written E2 here. E2, comma, F2, comma, G2, and I close it up. You can see as I'm calling these cells, they are being highlighted. Okay, so the moment I hit the enter button, I can see the summation of all the sales that are being done by Albertine Kati. So at the end of everything, she made $26,000 for the first quarter of the year. So I like to see the same thing, the submission of sales for Alessin Caro, which is the third person, sorry, the second person on my screen. So I like to do this same function. Instead of me writing is equals to sum and calling the reference of each cells, I can just save stress and save time, I'll hold this cell, the ending part of this cell here that has the summation of all the sales. I want to implement that same formula, but the cell reference is going to change. So I'll just drag this down. So the moment I drag this down, it's going to give me the total sales for all of them. Okay, you can see if I click on any of them, you can see the formula bar is calling it B19, C19, and we did not type this. So we just wanted to auto complete the cells. Okay, so we can have a value for them. All right, guys, I'm sure you are following me on this. Now we've been able to get the total sales for the month. Remember, we are making reference to this question. We want to answer this question. We want to see the revenue that is greater than the average revenue. You want to color it in green, and it's also a conditional formatting command. Okay, so we are just done with the first step, which is finding the total sales for the month, for all month, and we are just done with that. So the next thing we need to do is finding the average. What's the average of all these total sales? Just say is equals to avg. That's the function for average. Then, oh, so excuse me, sorry, I made a mistake here. So the function for average is equals to avg. Then we open the bracket. You can also close it. So we want to find the average from cell H2, because it's 2 and it's in column H. So we can just see here H2 to H what to H19. H2 to H19. You can see it has highlighted that cell for us as the moment we called it. Okay, so this is what we need to do. We hit the enter button. We find a typo average. Oh, sorry, let me get this pic. All right, guys, welcome back. And this was the error, the function I wanted to use to find the average is showing me. So actually is a typo error. So I'm going to fix that right here. Okay, I'm going to press yes to correct that error. So this is the average revenue, average. Okay, average. So this is the average revenue. I want to make it appear bold. Let me make it so it doesn't mix up. It doesn't mix up, bro. So this is the average revenue. Let me insert another. I don't want to mix it up with these other ones. Let me click on insert. Good. So we have been able to sort for the average revenue right now, and what we need to do is to answer these questions. And the question is saying, if a revenue, this is the total revenue that has been gotten by all the salesperson for the first quarter of the year. So we want to find those who their total revenue was above the average revenue. Okay, and it's going to color that in green. And for us to, sorry about that, for us to be able to see the green colors, it means we must apply conditional formatting. Okay, so that is why we are learning conditional formatting in Excel, right? Trust you with me. Now we have to, for you to implement conditional formatting, this is how you do it. You come here, you click on, you highlight the row first where you want to implement your conditional formatting. You come here, you click on conditional formatting. I will want to highlight the cells that are greater than the average. Now, what's the average? The average is $38,463, 38,463. So you will enter it there. What do we want to be colored with this average? We come here, you said we need it in what? In green, right? So this is green. Okay, so the average revenues that the revenues that is what greater than that average revenue will be displayed in what green. Okay, so guys, this is it. We can see, let me adjust this and adjust this one. We can see, sorry, let me take this right here. We can see that the person who were above average revenue are this second person, Alison Caro and Altman Zoe. They had their revenues above the highest, the average revenue. So we've been able to implement conditional formatting to highlight cells in Excel. Okay. Now the second part of the question is saying the revenue that is less than the average revenue should be in orange. The revenue that is less than average revenue should be in orange. So I have to clear the formatting I applied to this one. Okay. Actually, it's the one-sided formatting that we are doing right now. So let me clear these rules from the worksheet. This is how, if you have implemented a conditional formatting and you want to clear it off, so you just come back here to conditional formatting, come to clear rules, and come to clear rules from entire sheet. It goes back to what it was. Okay, so the second part of the question is saying the one that has revenue less than average revenue should be colored in what? Orange. So I'll come here and click on not greater than again. I'll come here and click on less than. All right, so the one that is less than what? 38,463 dollars, we should color it in what? Orange. Do we have orange here? No. Since we don't have orange here, just go to custom format and click on OK. So you go to fill and select the orange color. I'm not too good at colors, but I can know maybe something similar to this will be the orange. Then you click on OK. So these are the revenues that are less than the average revenue. Okay. For this lengthy line, if you don't want yours to extend below lines that are not needed, you could just highlight it. So this is what you can do. Highlight the parts where you want the conditional formatting to be affected. How can you highlight it? Take your mouse to the top, the header, and use shift and an arrow down button. So whatsoever you are doing is going to stop here. It's not going to extend beyond. All right, so with that, I have to clear the formatting. I have to clear the rules. Come here, go to rules and clear the rules from the entire sheet. So guys, we've been able to answer the first question, making the revenue that is greater than average revenue to appear in green, and also making the revenue that is less than average revenue to appear in what? In orange. Okay, so it's advisable you can copy it to another sheet so that you display the one with revenue that is less than average revenue to make your work presentable. So the next question we'll be looking at is which of the sales heads had the highest sales and lowest sales, and determine which month. So from this total sales, we can determine which one has the highest sales. For you to discover the salesperson that has the highest sales, just you're going to use a function called max function. So that max is going to be is equals to, this is how we type it, is equals to max in brackets, the cell range. Now what's the cell range? Cell range H2 to H19, H2 ratio H19. All right, it has covered that cell part, so you hit the enter button. So the person with 59,361 is the person with what? Highest sales record. Now how can we find out the person? This is what I used to advise. You can also filter if you have lengthy data sets. Okay, or otherwise use your eyes to check the one that has 59,000, and there's this guy here, Allison. This guy here, this is the person that has 59,000, Allison Caro. Okay, if you don't want to do it that way, you can do what? We can filter out the number with the what? The highest sales record. So how can you do that? You first of all highlight the header row. This one is the header is for the header. Then you go to this icon here that looks like a funnel. Then you click on filter. The moment you click on filter, it's going to bring this drop down icon. So from here, when you click the drop down icon, you can select the one that is what, you can deselect all, select the one that is what, 50, what was that value again? The value is 50 something thousand. 59,361. Then you click it, so it's only the $59,361 that will be displayed. Then from there you can now know that it's Alison Caro that had that amount. All right, so we've been able to sort out for the second question. If it's quite confusing, you can rewind the video to do what, and slow down the play mode to capture what has been said. So that is how we solve this question of the person which had the highest sales record. Now let's do for the person who has the lowest sales record. From the total sales here, I will just use a function. This is the column for the total sales. So I'll just use a function called min, min, and that function is being used this way. Is equals to min, the cell range. What is the cell range again? Can you imagine? I've forgotten that cell range. The cell range is H2. Look at it now. H, then 2, right? To H19, right? So we're going to implement it here. H2 ratio H19. Then we hit the enter button. So 25,157. 25,157 it was the lowest sales. This is where the 25,157 is, and I want to know which person had that sales. If my data set was lengthy, up to 10,000 records, this is what I can do. I can just click the down button after I've filtered and look for that value. This is the, yeah, this is the value. Let me cancel this, sorry. Let me get back there again. This is the value. 25,157 is the value I'm looking for. So the moment I deselect everything and click 25,000, I just want to see which salesperson had this record. So you can see this person is Ferguson Elizabeth. Ferguson Elizabeth is the person with the lowest sales record. I can decide to sack this person because the person is underperforming, having a low sales record. But there might be some conditions attached to that particular record. Probably the economic situation in the country then was actually not really favorable. So that was what happened also. If there are some considerations to be made. But if this person repeatedly keeps making this sales record, then I'll now know the person is not really competent to handle this position. All right. So we've gotten back to determine the highest and lowest sales record. So what's the next question? Next question, find the total sales from all sales held. We've done that, which is the total sales for all this month. Look at it right here. So that's the total sales for all salesperson. And through that was what we used to determine the one with the lowest sales and the one with the highest sales. All right, guys. So they said the other question is, what is the sum of sales in January and June for Farmer Kim and Florence Tia? What is the sum of sales in January and June for Farmer Kim and Florence Tia? So I'll go back here. Where is Florence Tia? This is Florence Tia. Where is Farmer Kim? And this is Farmer Kim. So if I like, I can just filter those two persons alone. Okay. First of all, you deselect all, then you look for Farmer Kim. This is Florence Tia is also needed. Where's Farmer Kim? This is Farmer Kim as well. Then you click OK. Only their sales record will be displayed. So I can come here and say Farmer Kim, Farmer plus Flowers. And the question says, what is the sum of sales? Let me get back to the question again. Oh shit. Let me see the question again. The question says, Find what's the sum of sales in January and June for the both persons. The sum of sales in January and June for both persons. So I can go back again and filter from here. Turn off all of this and click on Pharmachem Florestia and click OK. What is the sum of sales for January and June? Where is June? This is June. So this is how I'm going to call. Pay attention. I'm going to call this cell reference. I will just say is equals to sum bracket. For January, what is the cell range? B13, B13, comma, B15, comma, then watch the way I'm going. Sorry, I'm supposed to put January and June for the first person. So B13, comma, where is June? June's own is G13. G13. This is for one person alone. Okay. Then let me do for the second person, which is what? Florestia. You can see it right here. So I will call what? B15. B15 is the cell reference. It is in column B under row 15. So if I scroll to this side, I have to also do for this one too, comma G15. Okay, then close my bracket and hit the enter button. This is the sum of sales for this person. Why will I be needing sum of sales? Maybe those two persons belongs to the same region, and their sales should be, I want to see the total sales coming from that particular region. That's where I could need it. We basically just playing around this data set to come up in order to encounter lots of questions we can answer. Now it said identify the last question. Now it says identify the salesperson in the month of June that is a good marketer if their sale is above $10,000. Now pay attention. This is where the if statement will be applied. The question says identify the person who is a good marketer, okay, if their sales in the month of June is above $10,000. So in other words, I will not be considering the total sales here. I'll be only considering the sales for the month of June and also implement a particular condition, a condition statement. I'll be making use of if statement. Okay, if statement is used to implement a particular condition. So now I will just come here and highlight it. I like this particular sales. Let's see. I can call this column good or bad salesperson. Salesperson. Okay. So I can come here and implement an if statement that if any sale is above $10,000, identify the person as good salesperson. Then if the sale in this June is less than $10,000, it's going to identify a person as a bad salesperson. So there are different things that can make someone assume that particular value after doing every plus and minus. Do you understand? So this is how we fix that up. You're going to say is equals to if bracket, what is the cell the reference of the cell? We are referencing cell G2 because we are dealing with the month of June. So I'll say G2, if G2 is greater than $10,000, comma, what should happen? You can tell me print good sales. Otherwise, just tell me bad sales. Okay. So after that, I hit the enter button. Wow. You can see it right here. So if I want to extend this particular format or formula down, I could just drag it down here. Watch where I'm dragging from. This particular portion with the small rectangular shape, you click your mouse there and you drag it down. So you are going to see the ones that are good sales and the ones that are bad sales. Do you understand? So let's see part of the question. It says, now we want to count how many persons are good salesperson. That's what we want to identify and count. Okay, now for you to determine that, Just come here, click on this arrow, and deselect, or just select only good salesperson. Filter only good salesperson out. So these are the number of good salesperson. So if instead of me saying counting 1 2 3 4, if I have more than 10,000 columns, 10,000 rows rather, so I could just come here and just use the subtotal to count how many good sales are there. So I will just say subtotal. I'll just say is equals to subtotal bracket 103 comma, this 103 is not part of the calculation. It's only telling Excel that only count the filtered, the ones that are visible, the ones that are filtered, all these good sales that is visible, only count them. Don't go and count the ones that are bad sales too. Okay, so 103, what is the cell reference? I3 to I18. I will say I3 subtotal function 103 bracket I3 ratio I18. So I'll hit the enter button. After I've done this, I click the enter button. So it's telling me there are $15 person. It's telling me there are 15 persons, but I included the format for this column as currency. So I have to go and remove the format. By coming here, you right click and you go to format. You can change it to general or number if you wish to, and you leave it. I would advise you to leave it in general, and then you click OK. You can see there are only 15 persons that did what, that are identified as good salesperson. Then I can now start working on people who are bad salesperson to know why their sales was that poor. So guys, we have come to the end of this video. I've taught you lots of things in one. First of all, I taught you how to get average function, how to get max, mean,